13 secret signs she's falling for you but hiding it. Psychology tricks. Love doesn't shout its arrival. It often enters quietly, and only the attentive heart notices it first. Listen carefully for a moment, because the truth about attraction is rarely spoken openly. Many women will never directly confess when they start developing feelings, not to a man and sometimes not even to their closest friends. Instead, what appears are subtle clues, small changes in behavior, quiet gestures, fleeting moments that most men overlook. These are the hidden signals that appear when a woman begins to fall for you while still trying to maintain her composure. You might notice she holds eye contact just a little longer than normal, or her tone softens when she says your name. Perhaps the atmosphere between you feels strangely intense, as if something meaningful is happening beneath the surface, but neither of you is openly acknowledging it. When that happens, trust your intuition. Often that quiet tension is not imagination at all. It is the beginning of unspoken attraction. The reality is simple. A woman rarely announces her feelings with grand declarations. More often, affection grows in silence, slowly revealing itself through body language, subtle actions, and emotional energy long before she ever admits what she truly feels. Learning to recognize these quiet signals allows you to understand what her words may still be carefully hiding. 1. Emotional vulnerability appears before physical closeness. When a woman begins to fall for a man, the first signal rarely appears in physical closeness. It appears in emotional openness, and this is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks hidden inside real human connection. Many men expect attraction to show up through obvious flirting or physical signals, but female psychology often works in the opposite direction. A woman does not rush forward loudly. She slowly allows a man into the quiet spaces of her mind. Watch carefully. When you enter the room, her awareness shifts. She becomes slightly more careful about how she sits, how she speaks, how she laughs. Her voice softens. Her breathing changes. These are subtle signals the nervous system reveals before the heart is ready to speak. That is how emotions quietly begin the process of how to fall in love. And here is the key insight. Emotional vulnerability almost always appears before physical closeness. Many men miss this because they are trained to look for bold gestures. Don't make that mistake. Don't wait for dramatic signals. Be attentive to emotional trust instead. When a woman starts sharing pieces of her inner world with you, something important is already happening. She might tell you about past disappointments. She may mention a moment when she felt misunderstood, a time she doubted herself, or a memory that still carries a quiet sting. She may speak about relationships that shaped her or moments when life humbled her. She often presents these stories casually, almost like they are small details that do not matter. But they matter deeply. That is not casual conversation. That is emotional exposure. And according to female psychology, emotional exposure is one of the strongest indicators of trust and early attraction. You must understand this clearly. A woman does not open those emotional doors for everyone. She opens them only when her instincts say a man is safe, grounded, and emotionally steady. This is where many of the most powerful psychology tricks about connection reveal themselves. Attraction is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet gravity pulling two people closer without a word being said. Be calm. Be attentive. Be the kind of man who listens without rushing to fix everything. That is important. Don't interrupt vulnerability with advice. Don't rush the moment. Simply hold the space. Because in the deeper patterns of how to fall in love, emotional safety always comes first. Physical closeness follows later, naturally, almost effortlessly. When a woman trusts you with her fears, her doubts, and her private memories, she is revealing something more valuable than flirtation. She is revealing emotional trust. And emotional trust is the doorway where real attraction quietly begins. 2. She begins paying attention to the smallest details. A woman rarely announces that she is falling for you. She reveals it quietly, in the small details most men overlook. One of the clearest signs appears when she begins paying attention to the smallest things about you. Not just your presence, but your habits, your thoughts, the little rhythms of your personality. She remembers the drink you casually mentioned weeks ago. She recalls a story you told in passing. She repeats a joke you made once and smiles as if it still lives in her mind. That is not random memory. That is emotional investment. As the writer Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. When a woman starts holding onto these tiny fragments of who you are, it means you are becoming part of the emotional landscape inside her mind. You are no longer just a man she met. You are becoming a pattern she keeps returning to. And here is the important truth. When a woman mentally keeps you close like that, you already exist in her inner world, even if she never says it out loud. But do not expect her to confess it easily. Many women react to their own growing feelings with caution. Instead of openly admitting attraction, she may tease you, challenge you, or even step back for a moment. Don't misunderstand this behavior. Don't panic. Don't chase too hard. That push and pull often appears when emotions start getting stronger than she expected. A woman who feels herself falling sometimes becomes aware that you now matter to her more than she planned. And that awareness can make her careful. So she hides it behind playful sarcasm, light teasing, or a brief emotional distance. That is why a calm, grounded man stands out. Be steady. Be centered. A high-value man does not rush to force clarity. He allows attraction to breathe. That patience is part of masculine energy, and it is exactly the kind of presence that continues to attract women naturally. Watch her eyes. Eyes rarely lie. When she looks at you, notice the difference. It will not feel casual. It will feel focused, curious, almost investigative, as if she is studying you, trying to understand why you affect her the way you do. You may catch her watching you from across the room when she thinks your attention is somewhere else. And when your eyes suddenly meet, she may look away quickly or give a soft, slightly nervous smile. That moment matters. That reaction is not simple politeness. That is emotion trying to stay hidden. It is desire showing itself before words are ready to admit it. This is where many men make a mistake. They overanalyze, overreact, or push too fast. Don't do that. Be calm. Be observant. A high-value man understands that attraction grows quietly before it becomes obvious. That patience is part of masculine energy. It allows trust and curiosity to deepen naturally. When a woman begins remembering your smallest details, watching you when she thinks you're not looking, and hiding a smile when your eyes meet, something important is already happening beneath the surface. She may not say the words yet. She may even pretend nothing is happening, but her attention tells the real story. And attention, when it is genuine, is often the earliest sign that a woman is already falling for you, even while she is still trying to hide it. If you've ever noticed a woman remembering the smallest things about you, your favorite drink, a story you told weeks ago, the way you think, then you already understand something powerful. When a woman starts paying attention to the details of your life, you've quietly entered her inner world. She may tease you. She may challenge you. She may even pretend she doesn't care. But her eyes always give her away. Because when a woman studies you, watches you when she thinks you aren't looking, and remembers the little things, that's not coincidence, that's hidden desire. So if this truth resonates with you, drop a comment right now. I notice the details. Like this video, subscribe for more timeless psychology and wisdom about attraction, and remember, the man who pays attention to subtle signals always sees what others miss. 3. She slowly moves you to the center of her life. Listen carefully, because this is where many men misunderstand what is really happening. When a woman has no interest, you remain somewhere in the background of her life, like distant noise that never quite matters. But when she begins to fall, quietly, carefully, without announcing it, something subtle starts to change. Slowly, almost invisibly, she begins to move you toward the center of her world. Not with dramatic words, not with grand declarations, with small actions. She makes time even when her schedule is full. She replies a little faster than before. She stays a little longer in conversation. She finds reasons, simple, ordinary reasons, to be near you. This is not coincidence. This is emotional gravity. As the writer Anouilh Nin once said, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. When she begins to see you everywhere in her day, it means you have quietly entered her inner world. Understand this clearly. A woman moves toward what makes her feel calm, alive, and emotionally safe. When your presence creates that feeling, she will naturally begin to orbit closer to you. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes powerful. The Stoics understood something modern men often forget: attraction grows in calmness, not in chasing. A centered man with an iron mind does not force attention. He creates a space where people want to stay. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And that principle applies directly here. When you live with discipline, clarity, and purpose, your energy becomes steady. That steadiness is magnetic. In modern life, where everyone is distracted, rushed, and emotionally scattered, the man who stands grounded becomes rare. And rarity attracts attention. So if she begins making room for you, responding sooner, lingering longer, weaving you naturally into her routine, do not rush to label it or pressure it. Observe. Stay composed. Continue being the man whose presence feels easy and solid. Because even if she still says she's not looking for anything, her behavior is already telling the real story. Emotionally, she is leaning toward you. And leaning is always the beginning of falling. The key is patience. The key is strength of character. This is why the philosophy behind Stoicism matters so much in relationships today. You win not by pushing harder. You win by becoming steadier. You win by mastering yourself. An iron mind does not chase signals, it recognizes them calmly and continues walking its own path. And when you do that, you create the exact kind of presence that quietly draws people closer. Remember this rule from old Stoic wisdom: what is meant to move toward you will move. Your task is not to force the moment. Your task is to become the man worth moving toward. That is the quiet victory. That is how Stoicism truly works in real life. 4. Her body language and energy begin to change. Her body language and energy begin to shift in ways that are quiet, subtle, yet incredibly revealing if you know what to look for. At first, it may seem small, almost insignificant, but pay attention, because these signals are rarely random. When a woman begins to feel drawn to you, her entire presence changes around you. Her tone becomes softer, warmer, more inviting. Sometimes her voice drops slightly when she speaks to you, almost as if the moment carries more weight. Other times it becomes playful, light, filled with a gentle, teasing energy. That change is not performance. It is instinct. As the writer Anouilh Nin once said, we do not see things as they are, we see them as we are. When her feelings begin to grow, the way she experiences you changes, and her body begins to reflect that shift without her even realizing it. Watch how she laughs when you speak, often a little more than necessary, a little longer than usual. Notice how her hands move toward her hair while you talk, casually adjusting it, brushing it back, giving herself a moment to manage the emotions building inside. These gestures may appear simple, but in the world of female psychology, they are classic indicators of attraction. Her body slowly angles toward you during conversation. She may lean in slightly, even when there is no need to. Her shoulders face you. Her feet point in your direction. These are powerful signals because the body rarely lies. When someone feels emotionally safe and intrigued, their physical orientation naturally moves closer. That is one of the quiet psychology tricks of human connection. The body reveals interest long before words do. A woman who is beginning to develop feelings does not always say it out loud. Often she cannot. Instead, her behavior becomes more expressive when you are present. Her energy lifts. Her smile appears faster. Her reactions feel more engaged, more alive. This is where many men make a mistake. They ignore these signals because they expect direct confession. Don't wait for obvious declarations. Pay attention to patterns. Be observant. Be calm. In female psychology, curiosity is often the doorway to deeper feelings, and understanding these psychology tricks helps you recognize when that doorway is beginning to open. Her curiosity grows first. Her body follows. And slowly, without dramatic words or grand gestures, the emotional space between you begins to shrink. That is how to fall in love often begins, not with loud promises, but with quiet changes in tone, posture, and presence. Remember this clearly. Attraction rarely starts with speeches, it begins with energy. It begins with small unconscious movements. And when you learn to read these signals with patience and awareness, you start to understand one of the most powerful truths about connection and how to fall in love. The heart moves silently, but the body always tells the story. If this insight opened your eyes, take a moment right now, hit the like button, subscribe for more powerful truths about attraction, and share this with a man who needs to understand the signals women rarely say out loud. And I want to hear from you. Drop this line in the comments to lock the lesson into your mind. When her energy changes around you, her heart is already curious. 5. Mixed signals come from emotional fear. Mixed signals rarely appear out of nowhere. They almost always grow from emotional fear, and understanding this is where a high-value man separates himself from the crowd. When a woman begins to feel something real for you, her mind does not immediately celebrate. It questions. It calculates. It protects. Suddenly, quiet thoughts start echoing in her head. Does he like me too? Am I revealing too much? What if I open my heart and end up hurt? These questions create a small emotional storm inside her. So don't rush to judge her behavior. Be calm. Be observant. That is the mindset of a man who truly understands human nature. The moment attraction deepens, many women instinctively step back for a second. She might respond slower. She might become a little quieter. She may even act as if her interest has cooled. But don't misread the moment. Don't assume the feeling disappeared. Often the opposite is happening. She pulls away not because she stopped feeling, but because she suddenly started feeling too much. Think of it like standing near a warm fire. When the heat becomes intense, people sometimes take a small step back before moving closer again. Her emotions work in a similar rhythm. One part of her wants to lean toward you, curious and excited. Another part of her wants to guard her heart. That internal tug-of-war creates the famous push and pull many men experience. One day she is warm, playful, fully engaged in conversation. The next day she becomes a little distant, a little careful, as if she suddenly remembered the risks of caring too much. Don't panic. Don't chase desperately. And most importantly, don't take it personally. A high-value man understands emotional timing. He stays grounded. He remains centered in his masculine energy, calm and steady while her emotions sort themselves out. Here's the truth many men misunderstand. Confusion is rarely created by indifference. You don't feel emotional tension with someone who doesn't care at all. Silence from someone uninterested is simple, clean, and final. But when a woman sends mixed signals, warm one day, cautious the next, it often means something deeper is happening beneath the surface. She is navigating her feelings. She is measuring your character. She is asking herself whether you are the kind of man she can trust with her emotional world. That is why patience becomes your advantage. Be composed. Don't react impulsively. Maintain your purpose, your calm presence, your masculine energy. That quiet confidence is exactly what helps attract women who are searching for stability, not chaos. Remember this simple principle. A woman who feels nothing does not wrestle with her emotions. She simply moves on. But a woman who is already emotionally invested sometimes hesitates, sometimes retreats, sometimes sends signals that seem contradictory. Beneath all that hesitation, however, the core truth often remains unchanged. Her heart has already stepped closer than she intended. And when a high-value man recognizes this dynamic, he doesn't chase the confusion. He rises above it. He stays patient, centered, and authentic. That steady presence doesn't just resolve the tension, it quietly strengthens the attraction and helps him naturally attract women who feel safe enough to finally stop hiding what they feel. 6. She shows care, jealousy, and emotional investment. Watch closely, because a woman rarely announces her feelings with loud words. She reveals them in small moments, in quiet gestures that most men overlook. One of the clearest signs appears when she begins to show care, subtle jealousy, and emotional investment in your life. She checks if you arrived home safely. She asks whether you ate. She notices when your mood shifts. These are not random questions. These are signals of attention, and attention is where affection quietly grows. As the writer Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. When a woman begins to care about how you feel, when your well being enters her daily thoughts, understand this clearly. You have already stepped into her emotional world. And then comes another signal many men misunderstand: jealousy. Not loud accusations, not dramatic scenes, just small changes in her energy when another woman gets too close to you. She may joke about it. She may pretend it means nothing. But listen carefully. Observe calmly. Jealousy, in this context, is not insecurity, it is emotional investment. People protect what they value. They pay attention to what matters. That is simple human psychology, and it has been understood for centuries through old Stoic wisdom, where attention flows, the heart quietly follows. A man with an iron mind does not panic when he sees these signals. He does not rush, chase, or pressure. He observes. He stays centered. He understands that attraction grows in patience and emotional steadiness. In today's modern world, full of distractions, social media, endless noise, true emotional investment stands out even more clearly. A woman who remembers your stories, worries about your day, or reacts when another woman enters the picture is showing that your presence has begun to matter to her. That is not accidental. That is emotional gravity forming between two people. So here is the instruction. Don't ignore these moments, but don't overreact either. Stay calm. Stay grounded. Led with quiet confidence. The philosophy behind Stoicism teaches exactly this. Control your reactions, read reality clearly, and move through relationships with steady strength. A man guided by old Stoic wisdom recognizes signals without becoming desperate for them. He values the moment but remains composed. He appreciates care but does not demand it. This is the mindset of a man with an iron mind. When you carry that calm presence, when you respond with steadiness instead of neediness, something powerful happens. The emotional investment she already feels begins to deepen. Respect grows. Curiosity grows. Attraction grows. Remember this principle and let it settle into your thinking. Women rarely fall through words. They fall through attention, care, and quiet emotional investment. Notice it. Respect it. Stay centered. That is how Stoicism becomes more than philosophy. It becomes a way to master life, relationships, and the quiet victories that belong to men who lead themselves first. If you truly understand what this means, then you already see the signal most men miss. When a woman checks on you, worries about you, or shows a hint of jealousy she tries to hide, that is emotional investment speaking quietly. Don't ignore it. Recognize it. A man who understands these subtle signs moves through relationships with clarity and confidence. So, if this insight resonates with you, prove that you're paying attention. Like the video, subscribe for more timeless psychological wisdom, and drop this sentence in the comments right now. I recognize real investment, and I never ignore the signs. 7. She begins mirroring you and building emotional connection. Listen carefully, because this is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks in attraction, and once you understand it, you begin to see the hidden language of female psychology everywhere. When a woman starts developing real feelings, she begins to mirror you. Not deliberately, not as a strategy. It happens naturally, almost invisibly. She adopts your phrases, your tone, even your rhythm of speaking. She laughs the way you laugh. She repeats expressions you use. That is not coincidence. That is emotional alignment. Her mind is slowly syncing with yours, and this is one of the oldest psychology tricks of human bonding. Scientists call it mirroring, but in everyday life, it is simply how people begin how to fall in love with someone without realizing it. Her nervous system starts to feel comfortable around you, and comfort is the soil where attraction grows. Notice the details. When you lean forward, she leans forward. When you smile, she smiles back almost instantly. When you speak about something meaningful, she becomes attentive in a deeper way. Don't ignore these signals. Be aware of them. Because in female psychology, emotional safety creates connection long before words ever do. That is how feelings quietly grow beneath the surface. And here is the important part: she will almost never say it directly. She won't sit down and confess that she is emotionally attaching herself to you. Instead, she stays close in subtle ways: emotionally present, mentally engaged, energetically connected. That is how female psychology works when a woman is beginning how to fall in love. Her presence becomes consistent. Her attention becomes steady. And if suddenly you pull away or disappear for a while, something interesting happens. She notices immediately. She checks in. She sends a message. She casually asks where you've been. She may even pretend it's nothing serious, but the curiosity is there. That reaction reveals everything. Because once you become part of her emotional routine, your absence creates a gap she feels. That is the quiet signal of attachment forming. Don't misunderstand this moment. Don't rush it. Don't push for validation. Instead, stay calm. Stay grounded. Be present. Let the connection develop naturally. Because when a woman mirrors your behavior and keeps you mentally present even when you're not around, you are witnessing one of the most powerful psychology tricks of attraction in real time. This is not manipulation. This is human nature. This is how emotional bonds quietly form between two people. And the men who understand female psychology recognize this pattern early. They observe it. They respect it. They allow the connection to breathe. That is the patient path of how to fall in love the right way. Quietly, naturally, without forcing the moment. 8. Attachment begins to form. Attachment begins quietly, almost invisibly. And here is something most men never fully understand. A woman who hides her feelings is often more emotionally invested than the one who displays them openly. Why? Because when a woman protects her emotions, she is protecting something she values. Something delicate. Something real. Her feelings for you. She guards them the way someone guards a flame in the wind. Carefully. Intentionally. That is not confusion. That is emotional depth. That is attachment forming beneath the surface. So when you start noticing the subtle signs, the lingering glances, the softened tone in her voice, the playful teasing that carries warmth, the way she seems more attentive to your words than before, pay attention. These are not random behaviors. They are signals. Quiet signals that her heart is slowly opening. Don't dismiss them. Don't rush them. A high-value man understands patience. He reads the moment instead of forcing the outcome. He observes instead of chasing. That calm awareness is part of masculine energy, and masculine energy is what allows a man to attract women without desperation or pressure. Notice how she becomes softer around you. Notice how conversations stretch longer than they need to. Notice how she remembers small details about your life. These are emotional investments being made in silence. A woman rarely gives this kind of attention to someone she feels nothing for. Her mind is starting to place you in a meaningful position in her world. And when that happens, attachment begins to grow roots. Slowly, naturally, quietly. But here is the important part. Don't rush to expose what she's protecting. Don't corner her feelings or demand clarity too early. Be steady instead. Be composed. A high-value man understands timing. He allows emotions to develop at their own rhythm. That patience is not passivity, it is strength. It shows emotional intelligence. It shows masculine energy that feels grounded and calm, and that kind of energy is exactly what helps a man attract women who are looking for depth rather than drama. So if you see the glances, the softness, the teasing, the growing emotional closeness, don't doubt what is happening. She is not unsure. She is not distant. She is falling. She simply isn't ready to reveal how deeply yet. That is the difference between surface attraction and true emotional attachment. Attraction appears quickly. Attachment grows quietly, layer by layer. And understand this clearly. This is only the beginning. As her feelings deepen, the signs become stronger, more revealing, harder to hide. Her actions will begin to speak louder than her silence. Her attention will become more intentional. Her emotional presence will become more obvious. That is when you realize she is no longer simply interested, she is emotionally choosing you. So stay attentive, stay grounded, don't chase validation. Understand women instead. A high value man doesn't run after affection. He creates the kind of presence that naturally attracts women. He carries masculine energy with calm confidence, and that energy allows connection to grow without force. And in the next part, we will uncover the deeper signs. The signs that reveal when attraction transforms into emotional commitment. Because once you recognize those signals, everything changes. If you want to understand women rather than guess their intentions, keep listening. What comes next will shift the way you see connection, attraction, and the quiet power of emotional choice. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who could benefit from understanding women on a deeper level. Real connection begins when a man learns to recognize the quiet signals most people overlook, the soft glances, the playful teasing, the emotional warmth that slowly grows into real attachment. And here's something powerful to remember. When a woman carefully hides her feelings, it often means those feelings matter deeply. She's protecting something meaningful. She's protecting the connection forming between you and her. So if you're noticing those subtle signs, the attention, the closeness, the quiet affection, don't ignore them. They're often the beginning of something real. Comment below to remind yourself of this truth. I recognize genuine connection, and I attract real emotional attachment. 9. She begins emotionally prioritizing you. Stay with this idea carefully, because when a woman reaches this stage, what she feels is no longer simple attraction. It becomes emotional attachment, and attachment carries far more weight than momentary desire. Attraction can appear quickly and disappear just as fast, but attachment grows quietly, patiently, and powerfully. A woman who is beginning to fall for you starts to emotionally prioritize you, not through dramatic speeches or obvious declarations, but through small, subtle decisions that reveal where her attention truly lives. Watch her behavior. Observe the quiet patterns. She checks your mood before she begins speaking about her own day. She listens more closely to the tone in your voice. If you sound tired, she softens. If you seem stressed, she adjusts. These are not accidents. These are signals of emotional investment. As the old saying from old Stoic wisdom reminds us, what we pay attention to reveals what we value. When a woman values you, your emotional state becomes part of her internal world. That is not performance. That is genuine connection. In modern life, where attention is scattered and everyone is distracted by screens, work pressure, and endless noise, emotional priority has become one of the clearest indicators of sincere interest. A woman who doesn't care will remain focused on herself. A woman who is falling for you begins to tune into you like a frequency she cannot ignore. She notices small changes. She reads subtle signals. She senses when something feels different. And most men miss this moment because they are looking for obvious proof instead of quiet truth. But remember this, real attachment rarely shouts. It whispers. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you matter to a woman, her thoughts naturally return to you. She thinks about how you feel. She measures her words more carefully. She becomes emotionally attentive in ways she may not even realize herself. That is why a man who wants to understand women must develop calm observation, build an iron mind, slow down, pay attention. Do not rush to conclusions, but do not ignore patterns either. When a woman emotionally prioritizes you, it means your presence carries weight in her world. That is not casual interest. That is attachment forming. And this is where old Stoic wisdom becomes powerful for men today. A grounded man who carries calm confidence, emotional steadiness, and an iron mind naturally attracts deeper investment from others. This is the philosophy behind Stoicism win. Stay centered, stay composed, stay observant. Because the man who sees these quiet signals clearly is the man who understands relationships with maturity and strength. Remember this principle and repeat it in your mind. Attraction catches attention, but attachment reveals true value. Attraction excites, attachment commits. Attraction begins the story. Attachment decides whether the story continues. And when you recognize that shift, you are no longer guessing. You are leading your life with awareness, discipline, and the quiet confidence that defines a man who truly lives the philosophy of Stoicism win. 10. She seeks deeper understanding of who you are. When a woman begins to fall for you, but chooses to hide it, one of the clearest signals appears in the way her curiosity deepens. Watch carefully. Her questions change. At first, it may have been light conversation, casual laughter, simple topics about work, hobbies, daily life. But slowly the tone shifts. She begins to ask questions that reveal genuine interest in who you are beneath the surface. Not small talk, not empty chatter. She wants to understand your mind. She wants to see how you think, what you believe, what drives your decisions, and what kind of man you truly are when life becomes serious. This is where many men miss the signal. They assume it is just conversation. It is not. It is female psychology at work. When a woman feels emotional curiosity, she starts exploring a man's inner world because attraction alone is not enough. She is quietly asking herself a deeper question. Could this man be part of my future? Listen closely to the patterns of her words. She may ask things like, how would you handle this situation? Or do you ever think about where life is taking you? Or what matters most to you in the long run? These are not random questions. These are subtle psychology tricks shaped by female psychology, ways of discovering your character without making her feelings obvious. A woman who does not care will keep things light and distant. But when she begins to imagine possibilities, she studies you. She observes your values. She measures your vision. She wants to see how you respond to life, pressure, responsibility, and meaning. That is how to fall in love slowly begins inside her mind. It starts with curiosity. Then comes emotional investment. Then comes quiet attachment. So do not rush. Do not try to impress with empty words. Be calm. Be thoughtful. Answer honestly. A mature man understands this moment. You must recognize that when a woman explores your mind, she is not testing you to criticize you. She is trying to feel safe understanding you. This is one of the most important psychology tricks hidden within female psychology. Emotional connection grows through understanding, not through performance. If she asks deeper questions, respect the moment. Be present. Be authentic. That is how to fall in love in a natural and lasting way. Remember this clearly. Attraction makes her notice you. Curiosity makes her study you. But understanding is what allows a woman to imagine building a future beside you. And when that stage arrives, even if she hides her feelings, the signs are already there for the man who knows how to see them. 11. Her emotional walls begin to lower. There is a quiet but powerful shift that happens when a woman begins to fall for a man, and most men miss it because they expect love to be loud, dramatic, or obvious. It rarely is. Instead, something far more meaningful occurs. Her emotional walls begin to lower. At first, she may appear guarded, a little sarcastic, a little playful in a way that keeps things light. That is protection. But when genuine feelings begin to grow, that protective layer slowly softens. Her tone changes. Her energy relaxes. The sharp edge in her humor becomes warmer, more affectionate. Pay attention to this. Don't ignore it. That is not random behavior. That is emotional trust beginning to form. She begins to reveal the gentle parts of herself, the side that worries about the future, the side that quietly hopes for something meaningful, the side that wants emotional closeness, but doesn't want to appear too vulnerable too soon. You must understand something important here. A woman does not reveal this side of herself to just anyone. She shows it to a man she feels safe with, a man she respects, a man whose presence feels steady. That is the effect of a high-value man. His calm confidence and grounded presence naturally invite emotional openness. This is what many people call masculine energy, not loud, not aggressive, but centered, calm, and reliable. When a woman senses that energy, she slowly relaxes into it. Her defenses fade. Her communication becomes softer, more sincere. She might start sharing small personal thoughts, asking deeper questions, or lingering a little longer in conversation. Don't rush it. Don't push her to open faster. Be patient. Be steady. That is how a high value man behaves. Love, for many women, is both beautiful and frightening at the same time. On one hand, she wants to be seen. On the other, being seen means being emotionally exposed. That is why she may still joke, tease, or downplay what she feels. She might laugh and say, "Don't take me too seriously," even while she continues investing more emotional attention in you. Understand what's happening beneath the surface. That playful teasing often hides a growing attachment. It is her way of opening the door slowly while still protecting her heart. A wise man recognizes this balance. Don't overanalyze every word. Don't demand declarations. Instead, observe the warmth in her behavior, the way she listens more carefully, the way her presence becomes calmer around you. That is real connection forming. And here is the deeper truth. Women naturally attract women, and men attract them through emotional safety, not through pressure. A grounded man who lives with purpose, discipline, and self-respect naturally becomes someone women feel drawn toward. That is why cultivating your own masculine energy matters. It creates an atmosphere where trust can grow. So when you notice her becoming warmer, more genuine, more emotionally present, recognize it for what it is. Don't dismiss it. Don't rush it. Respect it. Because when a woman begins lowering her emotional walls around you, she is offering something incredibly rare, her authentic self. And a high-value man knows how to receive that with patience, strength, and quiet confidence. 12. She trusts you with her wounds and past. There is a moment in every meaningful connection when a woman slowly lowers the armor she has worn for years, and if you are paying attention, you will notice it not through grand gestures, but through quiet honesty. She begins to trust you with her wounds. She tells you about the places in her past where trust was broken, the moments where she felt left behind, the times she promised herself she would never depend on anyone again. This is not casual conversation. This is not small talk. This is emotional risk. And a man who understands old Stoic wisdom recognizes the weight of that moment immediately. When a woman reveals the chapters of her life that still carry pain, she is not asking you to fix her past. She is testing the strength of your character in the present. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That is the instruction here. Be the man whose presence feels steady, calm, and safe. Because when she speaks about betrayal, abandonment, or disappointment in love, what she is really saying, without using those exact words, is this: "I hope you are not like the others." In modern life, many men miss this signal completely. They hear the story, but ignore the meaning. They try to solve, analyze, or redirect the conversation. Don't do that. Listen. Stay grounded. Maintain the calm discipline of an iron mind. The Stoics taught that true strength is quiet, controlled, and consistent, and this principle is exactly what builds emotional trust between two people. A woman does not reveal her past pain to someone she sees as temporary. She reveals it to the man she senses might be stable enough to hold it without judgment. That is why this moment matters so much. It is not just vulnerability. It is a doorway to intimacy. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." If you want to be the man she trusts, then act like the man who deserves that trust. Stay composed. Do not mock her past. Do not minimize her experiences. Respect the courage it took for her to say those words out loud. This is where emotional leadership begins. This is where a man practicing Stoicism win-separates himself from the crowd. Because most people react. Few remain centered. Few demonstrate the steady character that old Stoic wisdom teaches. Remember this: trust is not built through perfect words. Trust is built through consistent presence. When she shows you her scars, she is offering you something rare, access to the truth of who she really is. Treat that moment with respect. Hold your frame. Respond with calm strength, the strength of an iron mind. Do that, and something powerful happens. She begins to believe that the story of her past does not have to become the story of her future. And that belief is the beginning of real connection. If you understand what this means, then you already know you're standing in a rare place, because a woman does not reveal her scars to just anyone. When she shares her past, her fears, and the places where she was hurt, she is offering you trust, not drama. That is real intimacy. That is the moment a man proves who he truly is. So, if you believe a man should protect the trust placed in him, comment this below. I respect the trust she gives me. And if this message resonates with you, like the video and subscribe for more timeless wisdom about understanding women, building deep connection, and becoming the kind of man people naturally trust. 13. She wants you to respect her inner world. Here is something most men completely overlook, yet it reveals more about female psychology than any obvious flirtation ever could when a woman is quietly falling for you. She stops trying to impress you with surface things and begins trying to impress you with who she truly is. Pay attention to this. Notice the shift. She is no longer focused only on appearance, playful teasing, or light conversation. Instead, she begins revealing her mind, her values, her dreams, and the deeper parts of her identity. That is not accidental. That is one of the subtle psychology tricks of emotional attraction. She wants you to respect her mind. She wants you to see that she is thoughtful, capable, and full of depth. She may talk about her ambitions, the future she imagines, the lessons life has taught her. She might describe the things she wants to build, the person she hopes to become, or the kind of life that truly fulfills her. Do not ignore this moment. Do not brush it off as casual conversation. That is her opening the door to her inner world. And in female psychology, that is where real connection begins. As the writer Annie Sneen once said, love never dies a natural death. It dies because we don't know how to replenish its source. When a woman shares her inner world, she is showing you the source. She is inviting you into the emotional space where trust grows and where how to fall in love truly begins to unfold. Many men miss this sign because they are trained to look for louder signals, touch, compliments, obvious attraction. But attraction at a deeper level works differently. It moves quietly. It grows through respect, through understanding, through emotional curiosity. So listen carefully. Be present. Be attentive. Don't interrupt her stories. Don't turn the conversation back to yourself. Instead, lean in. Ask thoughtful questions. Show genuine interest. That is how you respond when a woman allows you to see her real self. And here is the powerful truth. When she wants your respect more than your approval, it means she already values you. That is one of the most powerful psychology tricks hidden inside female psychology. She is not simply talking. She is measuring whether you are the kind of man who can understand depth, who can appreciate meaning, who can recognize the heart behind the words. Because when a woman begins revealing her inner world, she is not just sharing thoughts. She is testing emotional safety. She is exploring how to fall in love without saying the words yet. That is why you must pay attention. Be calm. Be respectful. Be curious. Because when she invites you into that space, she is showing you something far more meaningful than attraction. She is showing you trust. And trust is the doorway through which real love quietly enters. Hey, my friend, I'm really glad you spent these moments here with me. If there's one simple truth to remember from today, it's this. When a woman slowly opens her heart to you, don't rush, don't force, and don't try to control the moment. Just be present. Listen with attention. Respond with calm confidence. A real connection doesn't grow from pressure or games. It grows from emotional safety. When she feels that she can be herself around you, when she feels seen and understood, that's when love begins to deepen naturally. So take it slow. Appreciate the small signs. Let the bond unfold the way it's meant to. And if today's message spoke to you in any way, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need this reminder. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.